The first time I met Ethan Parker, I heard his thoughts. How can arranged marriages still exist in this day and age? This is feudal nonsense. I won't allow it. Then his gaze landed on me. I absolutely refuse. She's so cute. I touched the birthmark on my face. Maybe he meant the girl in the princess dress standing behind me. So I quietly stepped aside a little. So cute. Even the mark on her face is adorable, like a butterfly. I love butterflies. The young master has a bit of a temper and sometimes can't help himself. If he snaps at you girls, please don't take it to heart. I was about to nod when Emma, beside me, spoke up first. Her tone was cheerful and bright, though a calculating glint flickered in her eyes. Don't worry, Mr. Butler. We definitely won't take it to heart. She agreed out loud, but secretly clenched her dress in her fist. I pressed my lips together, touched the birthmark hidden under my hair on my left cheek, and nodded along. The Parker family had come to our village searching for girls born on June 16th. Emma and I were both born that day. Since money was no object for the Parkers, they brought us both home so the young master could decide which one he preferred. Mr. Butler explained. The young master was 16 this year, but his health was fragile. Doctor said he likely wouldn't see 20. Mrs. Parker had consulted several well-known fortune tellers, and each one told her the same thing. Find him a bride from his birthplace, someone to bring good luck. A girl born on the 16th day of the 6th lunar month, in the year of the snake. Let her grow up alongside him, and through her fate, the Parker heir might live longer. The Parkers had only this one precious son, and though Mrs. Parker didn't put much stock in such things herself, she went along with it anyway. So Emma and I were brought to the Parker house, but only one of us could stay by the young master's side. Best candidate wins, the butler put it plainly. And the other one? I asked timidly. The other, Mrs. Parker said, would have her education sponsored through college. She really was generous, offering food and schooling either way. I told myself I simply had to be good to the young master. The Parker estate was enormous. It took a full 10 minutes just to walk from the front gate to the main hall. Are those for the young master? Why 2 of them? Is this how sons of wealthy families do things? The gap between them is huge. One's so pretty, the other's so ugly. That's the word they were reaching for, I think. I'd had this birthmark since birth, and it used to be even darker. Against my pale skin back then, it stood out badly. I'd been called ugly my whole life and had grown used to it. Besides, they weren't wrong. Not for someone like me. Being overlooked felt natural. All I needed was enough food and a chance at school. So annoying. They keep insisting I'm perfectly healthy, yet they still want to arrange some bride for me. What century is this? How can arranged marriage still exist in modern America? I won't stand for it. I refuse to give in. I'm sending them home today. The words kept drifting into my ears, one after another. A young man's voice, clean and crisp, though I couldn't spot any young man nearby. I nudged Emma's dress gently and whispered, "Did you hear someone talking?" No, she said, swatting my hand away with irritation written across her face. Don't touch my dress with those dirty hands. Oh, I patted my own ear. Maybe I'd misheard. Oh, don't want to go downstairs. Don't want to go downstairs. Do I really have to go down there? So annoying. I'm only 16 and already they want me to find a girlfriend. No way. Absolutely not. I know. Amid this stream of complaints, I watched a tall, striking boy come down the stairs. His skin was unusually pale, nearly bloodless, yet his lips held a strange, rosy color. What struck me most were his eyes. In shifting light, his pupils seemed to narrow into faint vertical slits, almost like a snake's. I don't want an arranged bride. I refuse. She's so cute. His eyes met mine, then dropped to my birthmark, and I quickly lowered my head. Cute? Surely he meant Emma, not me. She was in a frilly dress today, and did look adorable, so I stepped aside without thinking. Why won't she look at me? Am I not handsome enough? I feel so insecure suddenly. Are you the young master? Emma stepped forward, effectively blocking half of me from view, and extended her hand with a bright, innocent smile. Ethan's eyes fell to her hand, then slowly drifted back to my face. So cute. So cute. Even the mark on her face is adorable, like a butterfly. I love butterflies, most of all. He meant me. I instinctively went to hide the birthmark, but he'd just called it cute, like a butterfly. Why is she covering it? Such an adorable little mark. So cute. Acting just like a kid. My ears went hot. The steady stream of compliments nearly made me forget the astonishing fact that I was somehow hearing Ethan's thoughts. Emma held her hand out for nearly a minute before Ethan finally extended his slender fingers in reply. Ethan doesn't like being touched, but refusing to shake hands would be rude. How sad. Emma smiled sweetly and asked if she could call him Big Brother. Ethan refused immediately. No. So awkward. So awkward. I felt embarrassed on her behalf and wanted to vanish on the spot. Silence fell over the room until the butler stepped in to change the subject. This is little Zoe. Little duck? Like the animal? Little duckling. Quack, quack. Even with his pleasant voice, duck noises sounded strange coming from him. I'm Zoe. Zoe Wilson. Zoe, as in, no. She's blushing. So cute. Maybe. Mom, do you believe in love at first sight? My eyes widened. The way Zoe's looking at me, it's like she can read my mind. I quickly looked down to avoid suspicion. So hungry. So hungry. Hungry enough to eat an elephant, but my schedule's been so strange lately. Why am I sleepy all day but wide awake at night? My legs ache constantly, and sometimes they itch too. What's going on? And now everyone seems to have a scent I never noticed before. Strange. Whatever. I'm starving. Time to raid the fridge. My hand froze mid-reach while I quietly raided the refrigerator myself. The butler had told Emma and me we could drink the yogurt in the fridge if we got hungry at night, but getting caught still felt like it would leave a bad impression. I grabbed an unlabeled bottle of yogurt and ducked into a nearby cabinet to hide. It wasn't spacious under the counter, but being small, I fit easily enough. Just a little dark in there. I carefully licked the lid clean. Delicious. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, why is one of my strawberry yogurts missing? Who took it? Who drank my strawberry milk? I'm going to eat whoever did this. Eat me? So it really was true. City people ate people. Startled, I dropped the bottle and it rolled across the floor, glugging its way to Ethan's feet. Huh, a mouse? Realizing I was about to be caught anyway, I crawled out of the cabinet. It was me. I took it. I'm sorry, young master. Not a mouse. It's a little butterfly. Yes, a cute little butterfly. I was so hungry, and the butler said we could have yogurt whenever we wanted. Ethan nodded, his gaze lingering on my face before he looked away, oddly flustered. His Adam's apple bobbed. So cute. Want to eat her up in one bite? Nom nom. I'm sorry, I said again. I'm really sorry. It's fine, Zoe, he said, handing me another bottle of strawberry yogurt. I hesitated to take it. Doesn't she like strawberry? How could anyone dislike strawberry? I accepted it quickly and said, flattering him a little, what flavor is this? It's so sweet and tangy. So good. I knew it. Nobody dislikes strawberry. Wait, has Zoe never had strawberries before? Never? Oh no, I'm doomed. I genuinely couldn't tell his spoken words apart from his private thoughts anymore. She's really never tasted a strawberry? His inner voice drifted through my mind, soft, almost mournful. Her family must have been so poor. It breaks my heart. I want to buy her an entire greenhouse of strawberries. No, a whole farm. But would that sound like I'm showing off? Girls don't like show-offs. Outwardly, Ethan simply stood there, his pale face unreadable, lips pressed into a thin, cool line. His vertical pupils narrowed slightly in the dim kitchen light, following my every move. Thank you, young master, I murmured, eyes lowered. I've had strawberries before, just the artificial flavor and candy. This is completely different. It's delicious. A wave of satisfaction suddenly warmed my mind, not my own feeling but his. She likes it. She called me young master, though I wish she'd just call me Ethan. No, big brother sounds too cheesy anyway, especially after I turned Emma down. But Ethan would be nice. Her voice is so soft, like a little bird. You can have as much as you want, Ethan said aloud, his voice cool and detached, wildly at odds with the giddy bouncing thoughts underneath. The butler restocks them every Tuesday. If anyone eats them, that's fine. Actually, only she's allowed to touch them. If that fake, smiling girl so much as looks at my yogurt, I'll hiss at her. I mean it. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. The gap between this aloof, intimidating young master and the sweet-toothed, petulant boy inside his head was almost too much. I should head back to my room, I said quietly, gesturing toward the back stairs, before the butler thinks I'm wandering somewhere I shouldn't be. Don't go, his mind protested instantly. The night's so long, and my legs hurt, but if I ask her to stay, she'll think I'm strange. I have to stay cool and mysterious. Go on, then, Ethan said, turning away to open the freezer, as if hunting for something else. Don't trip in the dark. Watch yourself, little butterfly. The stairs creak. Good night, young master, I whispered, slipping out of the kitchen. Climbing the stairs back toward the attic rooms Emma and I shared, my thoughts were racing. I could hear his thoughts. It wasn't a dream, and it wasn't some hallucination. Whenever I was close enough to Ethan Parker, his inner voice broadcast straight into my mind like a radio signal. But why? Was it because we shared a birth date on the lunar calendar? Or was there something more to it? When I stepped into our shared room, the light was still on. Emma sat at the vanity brushing her long, glossy hair. She caught my reflection in the mirror, and her eyes narrowed the instant she spotted the yogurt bottle in my hand. Where'd you get that? She asked, her sweet, cheerful tone gone now that no adults were around. From the kitchen, I said, setting the empty bottle on my nightstand. The butler said we could have some if we're hungry. Emma sneered and spun to face me. You really are a country bumpkin, sneaking down to the kitchen like some kind of thief. Let me be clear, Zoe. Don't get any ideas about the young master. Did you see how he looked at you? He wouldn't even shake my hand, but he could barely look you in the eye. He thinks you're an eyesore. She jabbed a manicured finger toward my left cheek. With that ugly mark on your face, you're only here to make me look better by comparison. Mrs. Parker will pick me. I'm the one who's going to marry into this family, get my tuition covered, and live comfortably. You're nothing but a charity case. Thanks for watching. I didn't argue back. I never did. Over the years, I'd learned that letting Emma believe she'd won was the quickest path to being left alone. You're probably right, I said softly, pulling the blanket up over my shoulders. Good night, Emma. She scoffed and switched off the light. Lying in the dark afterward, staring up at the ceiling, I couldn't help but touch the mark on my cheek again. Even the mark on her face is adorable, like a butterfly. I love butterflies most of all. A small, genuine smile crossed my face. For the first time in my life, someone had looked at what I thought was a flaw and seen something beautiful instead. Even if he'd only said it in his head, that was enough. Over the following weeks, the rhythms of the Parker household became clearer to me. Because of Ethan's fragile health, he didn't attend a regular school. Private tutors came to the estate daily instead. Mrs. Parker, a refined yet visibly anxious woman, decided Emma and I should join these lessons too. A young master needs company, she explained over breakfast on our third day, her diamond-laden fingers tapping nervously against her porcelain teacup. Besides, we want to see how well you girls adapt. This isn't only about fate, it's about compatibility. Emma had lit up immediately, offering to carry Ethan's books for him. I'd simply nodded, keeping my hair draped forward to hide my birthmark. The study was a grand room lined with leather-bound books, tall windows, and a heavy mahogany table. Ethan was already seated when we arrived. Under the bright morning light, he looked even more translucent, his skin nearly pearlescent, dark circles ringing his eyes as though he hadn't slept at all. So sleepy. His mind groaned as I walked in. Why does the sun have to be this bright? My eyes are burning. I want to shed my skin. No wait, humans don't say that. I just want to sleep. Oh, little butterflies here. His head snapped up, his vertical pupils blowing wide for half a second before narrowing back into sharp slits. She's wearing a green sweater today. Looks like a little leaf. A leaf for my butterfly to rest on. So cute. But why's her hair hiding her face again? I want to brush it aside. No, that would be rude. I need to control myself. Good morning, young Master Ethan. Emma chirped, sliding into the seat right beside him, trailing a wave of cheap, cloying vanilla perfume. Ethan visibly flinched. He said nothing aloud, but his mind was shrieking. What is that smell? Like a chemical plant exploded into a bag of sugar. My nose. I'm going to sneeze. If I sneeze on her, she'll cry and Mom will scold me. Go away, go away, go away, go away. He shifted his chair a few inches left, closer to me. Much better, his thoughts, sighed in relief. Zoe smells like rain. Rain on wild grass. Cool and clean. I want to curl up beside her and sleep for 100 years. Heat rushed to my cheeks, and I quickly opened my notebook, pretending to focus on the tutor who'd just walked in. The lesson was European history, but I could hardly concentrate. Every time Ethan shifted, his thoughts would drift, and I'd catch another glimpse into his strange, fascinating inner world. He was remarkably sharp, silently correcting the tutor's dates in his head, yet his physical discomfort never let up. My legs feel like they're being squeezed in iron bands. Why does growing up have to hurt this much? The doctor calls it growing pains, but it feels like my bones are shifting and my back itches terribly. I glanced at him. He gripped the edge of the table so hard his knuckles had gone white, yet his expression stayed perfectly cold, eyes fixed on the chalkboard. He was in real pain, and hiding every bit of it. At the midday break, the tutor left, and Emma slipped off to the restroom to fix her lip gloss, leaving Ethan and me alone in the wide study. I noticed his hands were still trembling slightly. Young master, I said quietly, keeping my voice low enough that the servants outside wouldn't hear. Are your legs hurting a lot? Ethan went rigid. He turned slowly, his strange, striking eyes locking onto mine. What makes you say that? His tone was guarded, almost sharp. How did she know? His mind panicked. Is it that obvious? Am I showing weakness? A future head of the Parker family can't afford to look weak. I have to lie. I just noticed you were gripping the table pretty hard. I offered with a small, apologetic smile. My grandmother back home used to have bad joints whenever the weather turned. She'd soak them in warm water with mugwort. I don't know if the Parkers have any, but it might help. Ethan stared at me. The guarded wall in his mind slowly crumbled, replaced by an overwhelming warmth. She was watching me. She noticed. She actually cares. She's so kind. Mugwort? I don't care if it's a garden weed. If she suggested it, I want to try it. But I have to sound dignified about this. It's just minor fatigue, Ethan said aloud, clearing his throat. Still, I suppose I could have the butler look into this mugwort matter, since you recommended it. Yes. I'm having him buy 10 tons of the stuff. I couldn't help but smile. I hope it helps, I said. Why do you keep doing that? He asked suddenly. Doing what? Hiding your face, he said, gesturing toward the strand of hair falling over the left side of my head. It's not necessary, because I want to see it, his mind added, a rare flicker of vulnerability slipping through. It's a beautiful face. That mark makes you look like a fairy out of the woods. People back in my village called it a curse. I whispered, fingers rising to tuck the hair back, then hesitating. They said I was ugly. They were fools, Ethan said instantly, louder and sharper than before. He seemed startled by his own outburst, cheeks flushing a faint pink as he turned to stare out the window. Your village clearly has no appreciation for beauty, he muttered. They're blind. Absolutely blind. His thoughts roared with indignation. If I ever visit that place, I'll buy up all their land and turn it into a swamp. No, a swamp's too kind. A garbage dump. How dare they make my little butterfly feel sad? A soft laugh slipped out of me before I could stop it. Ethan turned back sharply, eyes wide. She laughed. She has the prettiest laugh, like little silver bells. What's so funny? He demanded, though there was no real bite to it. Nothing, I said, tucking my hair behind my ear and fully revealing the dark, butterfly-shaped mark. Just, thank you, Ethan. The moment his name left my mouth, Ethan froze. His heartbeat, which I could somehow feel through our strange connection, spiked. She called me Ethan. She called me Ethan. Oh my god, I might actually faint. My heart's racing. Is this what a heart attack feels like? I'm only 16. I can't die yet. I haven't even held her hand. You're welcome, he managed, voice cracking slightly, before snatching up his history book and holding it upside down in front of his face to hide the blush. I bit my lip to keep from laughing again. Ethan Parker was supposed to be a cold, cursed, sickly heir. But to me, he was quickly becoming the most endearing person I'd ever known. As the days rolled into weeks and the summer heat intensified, Ethan's condition worsened. He stopped coming to the study room entirely. Mrs. Parker's face grew paler by the day, and the butler wore a permanent, anxious frown. Emma was thrilled, seeing her chance to prove her devotion by offering to bring soup to his room, but she was turned away every time. The young master is resting and doesn't wish to be disturbed, the butler would say firmly. But I knew the truth, or at least I heard it, even from my third-floor room. On quiet nights, faint, agonized fragments of Ethan's thoughts would drift through the walls. It burns. It burns so badly. Why is my skin peeling? Am I turning into some kind of monster? It hurts. My legs. I can't feel my toes anymore. They're stuck together. No, don't look at me. I'm disgusting. I'm a snake. One night, the thoughts grew so loud, so drenched in pain and terror, that I couldn't bear it any longer. It was 2 a.m, the entire house asleep. I slipped out of bed, quiet as a shadow, and made my way down the dark staircase. I didn't know the layout of the second floor where the master bedrooms were, but I didn't need a map. I just followed the sound of his suffering in my mind. So cold, but my skin is boiling. Why won't it come off? It's too tight. I can't breathe. I stopped before a heavy oak door at the end of the east wing and pressed my ear to it. A faint, dry rustling came from within, like paper sliding against paper. I turned the brass handle gently. To my surprise, it wasn't locked. Inside, the room was pitch black, heavy curtains drawn tight against even the moonlight. The air was thick and humid, carrying the earthy scent of a forest floor after summer rain. Ethan? I whispered. A sharp hiss cut through the dark. Get out, a voice gasped. Ethan's, but deeper, rougher, as though his throat had gone dry and cracked. Why is she here? His mind shrieked in panic. No, 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 she can't see me like this. I'm hideous. I'm shedding. There are scales on my arms. My legs are fused together. I look like a monster. She'll run. She'll hate me. I'm not leaving, I said, closing the door softly behind me. I left the lights off, knowing that would only frighten him more, and instead let my eyes adjust to the dimness as I stepped closer. Ethan, I heard you, I said, moving toward the massive canopy bed. You're in pain. I told you to leave, he snarled, his voice cracking into a pitiful, whimpering gasp. Please don't look. Please, I'm begging you. I love you so much, Zoe. Please don't look at me and be disgusted. My chest ached so fiercely that tears welled in my eyes. The depth of his vulnerability, his terror of being rejected by me of all people, dissolved whatever fear I had left. I'm not disgusted, I said, kneeling beside the bed. A large shape huddled beneath the heavy quilts, the rustling louder now. How can you say that? Ethan whispered, breath coming in short, ragged gasps. You don't know what I am. My family carries a curse. Every few generations, a child is born with the blood of the great serpent. I'm not human, Zoe. I'm a beast. Doctors can't fix this. The fortune tellers only brought you here as a sacrifice to my curse. I don't care, I said, and slowly, deliberately, slid my hand beneath the quilt. Ethan flinched hard, trying to pull away, but I didn't let up. My fingers brushed his arm. The skin felt strange, cool, dry, layered with thin, translucent, paper-like scales that were peeling loose. Beneath them, new skin radiated a feverish heat. She touched me. His mind went completely still, panic washing away into hushed, awestruck wonder. Her hand is so warm. It doesn't hurt where she touches. The burning, it's easing. Does it hurt when it peels? I asked softly, fingers tracing the edge of a loose layer on his forearm. Yes, he whispered, trembling. It sticks to the new skin underneath. If I pull too hard, it bleeds. Let me help, I said, climbing onto the edge of the bed and folding my legs beneath me. I pulled back a portion of the quilt, exposing his arm in the faint light seeping under the door. His arm shimmered with an iridescent layer of dead skin, almost like a cicada shell. With utmost care, I pinched the loose edge near his wrist. Tell me if it hurts, I murmured. It doesn't hurt at all, his thoughts whispered, wrapping around my mind like a warm blanket. It feels like heaven. Her touch is like cool water on a sunburn. I want her to keep doing this forever. Slowly, carefully, I began peeling the dead skin away. It came off in long, unbroken sheets, revealing flawless pale skin beneath. As I worked, a strange energy seemed to pass between us. The birthmark on my cheek tingled, a warm pulse that seemed to sync with the rhythm of his heartbeat. Ethan let out a long, shuddering breath, his body finally relaxing after weeks of tension. Why aren't you afraid? He asked, vertical pupils fixed on me through the dark. Because you called my birthmark a butterfly, I said simply, not pausing my hands. A monster wouldn't say something so kind. Ethan's mind fell quiet for a long moment, filled with a wordless emotion that made my own chest swell with warmth. I want to protect her, he thought. I want to grow strong, survive past 20, build a world where nobody can ever make her cry. I don't want to die. I want to live with her. You're not going to die, Ethan, I whispered, peeling the last dry patch from his shoulder. I won't let you. He looked up, startled. What did you say? I froze, realizing I'd answered his thoughts aloud again. I said you're going to be fine, I quickly corrected, cheeks burning. Ethan didn't push further. He simply closed his eyes, a peaceful expression settling over his handsome face. She's my miracle, his mind whispered as he drifted off, his hand reaching out to loosely clasp mine. My little butterfly. By morning, Ethan's fever had broken completely. When the butler brought in breakfast, he found the young master sitting up in bed, looking healthier than he had in months. His skin was smooth, his eyes clear, and the crippling joint pain gone entirely. This is a miracle, the butler gasped, rushing to call Mrs. Parker. Mrs. Parker wept with joy, embracing her son, who accepted it with his usual stoic patience, though his mind grumbled privately. Mom, you're crushing me. And your perfume's still too strong. Where's Zoe? I want to see Zoe. Why'd they make her leave before morning? I stood off to the side beside Emma, watching the joyful reunion. Emma's face wore a mask of polite happiness, though I couldn't read her mind the way I could. Ethan's, my strange gift only worked on him. Still, I didn't need telepathy to see the hatred simmering behind her eyes. She'd noticed my tired eyes, and the tiny papery scale still stuck to the cuff of my sweater. She knew I'd been in his room the night before. That afternoon, while the household bustled around preparing a feast for Ethan's recovery, Emma cornered me in our room. Think you're so clever, don't you? She hissed, slamming the door shut. Sneaking into his room. What did you do to him, Zoe? Some kind of dirty village witchcraft? I didn't do anything, I said, packing books into my bag. I just helped him because he was in pain. Liar. Emma grabbed my arm, nails digging in. The butler said the young master's room was locked. How'd you get in? You must have taken the master key. And look at this. She pulled a small silver amulet from her pocket, an antique piece shaped like a coiled serpent with emerald eyes. I recognized it instantly, the Parker family heirloom missus. Parker kept locked in the library's display case. You stole this, didn't you? Emma sneered, a wicked, triumphant smile spreading across her face. I found it in your drawer. My blood ran cold. I've never seen that before in my life. Emma, you planted it there. Who do you think they'll believe? Emma laughed sharply. The ugly girl with a curse on her face. Or me? Once Mrs. Parker learns you're a thief, she'll throw you out on the street, and I'll be the only bride left. She didn't wait for a response, storming out to alert the butler. Within 10 minutes I was summoned to the main hall. Mrs. Parker sat rigid on the velvet sofa, her expression grave, the silver amulet resting on the marble table before her. Emma stood nearby, tearful and wide-eyed, while the butler loomed behind them like a statue. Zoe, Mrs. Parker said, her voice heavy with disappointment. Emma says she found this heirloom in your vanity. The library's display case lock was forced open. What do you have to say for yourself? I didn't steal it, Mrs. Parker, I said, keeping my voice steady despite my trembling hands. Emma is framing me. Why would Emma do that? Mrs. Parker sighed. She's been nothing but cooperative, and she's the one who brought this to my attention. Zoe, I am a charitable woman, but I won't tolerate a thief in this house, especially one who'd steal a sacred family heirloom. She's lying, Emma sobbed, dabbing at fake tears. I saw her near the library yesterday. I didn't want to believe it, but when I checked her drawer, oh, Mrs. Parker, I'm so sorry I didn't speak sooner. It seems we have our answer, the butler said coldly. I'll prepare the paperwork to send Zoe back to the village. My stomach dropped. It wasn't losing the comfortable life or the schooling that hurt most. It was the thought of leaving Ethan behind, alone with his pain, with no one left who understood his thoughts or could help him through the next shedding season. Wait, a cold, clear voice rang out from the grand staircase. Everyone turned. Ethan descended, dressed in a sleek black suit, taller and more commanding than I'd ever seen him. These absolute idiots. His mind roared with a fury so sharp it made my ears ring. How dare they accuse my butterfly? Emma, you scheming little toad. No. Snakes are beautiful. You're a toad, warts and all. I'm exposing you right now. Ethan, Mrs. Parker said, rising. You should be resting. This is a household matter. A household matter that concerns my future. Ethan cut in, stepping into the hall. He didn't spare Emma a glance, his eyes fixed only on me, softening briefly before turning icy as he faced his mother. The amulet wasn't stolen, he said calmly. What? Mrs. Parker blinked. I gave it to Zoe. Ethan lied smoothly, without so much as a blink of his vertical pupils. I took it from the library myself 3 days ago. I wanted her to have it as a token of my gratitude. Emma's jaw dropped. But, young master, I found it in her drawer, hidden under her clothes. If you gave it to her, why would she hide it? Ethan turned toward Emma, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Because she's modest, he said, voice dripping with venom, unlike some people who feel entitled to pry through others' belongings. Tell me, Emma, why exactly were you digging through Zoe's drawers in the first place? Do you make a habit of rifling through people's underwear? Emma flushed a deep, violent red. I was just looking for my hairbrush. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Ethan's mind sang mockingly, even as his face stayed a mask of aristocratic disdain. You went in there to plant it. I saw you on the security footage, you absolute fool. Did you really think I don't check the cameras in my own house? Mother, he said, turning to Mrs. Parker. Our security team is quite thorough. Shall I have them bring down the footage from the third-floor corridor this morning? I believe it shows Emma entering Zoe's room with something silver in hand and leaving empty-handed. Emma's eyes went wide with terror, her knees buckling. No, that won't be necessary, she stammered, backing away. I must have been mistaken. Maybe I picked it up by accident. Enough, Mrs. Parker said, ice in her voice. She wasn't a fool. The guilt was written plainly across Emma's face. Butler, pack Emma's bags. Send her home to the village at once. The Parker family has no place for schemers and liars. Yes, madam, the butler said, stepping forward to escort a weeping, protesting Emma from the hall. As she was led away, the room fell into stunned quiet. Yes, she's gone. Bye-bye, Toad. Ethan's mind practically threw a parade. Now it's just me and my little butterfly, forever. Mrs. Parker looked between her son and me, understanding, and perhaps a touch of awe, crossing her face. It seems, she said softly, the fortune tellers were right after all. The choice was never really ours to make. Zoe, you'll stay. I bowed my head. Thank you, Mrs. Parker. 2 years passed. The Parker estate, once thick with quiet tension and fear, had transformed completely. Under the steadying influence of our bond, Ethan's health flourished. The crippling fevers and joint pain never returned. We grew up side by side. I was 18 now, and the mark on my cheek had faded to a soft, delicate pink, looking more than ever like a butterfly resting gently on my skin. I was studying literature at a top university, tuition fully covered by the Parkers, exactly as promised. And Ethan had grown into a striking young man, tall, broad-shouldered, and already carrying real weight within the family's business. To the outside world, he was a ruthless, cold-blooded prodigy. To me, he was still the boy who lit up over strawberry yogurt. It was the night of our 18th birthday, June 16th. The Parker mansion hosted a grand gala, celebrating both our birthdays and Ethan's formal entrance into high society. The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and guests draped in silk and velvet. I wore a simple emerald gown, matching the color of the ancient serpent amulet I now proudly wore as a necklace. Standing by the balcony watching the crowd, a familiar, deep voice drifted into my mind. Where's she? I've been stuck talking to these dull board directors for 30 minutes. This collar's too tight. I want to rip it off. I want to hold Zoe's hand. She looks so beautiful tonight, like a forest goddess. Everyone's staring at her. I want to block all their eyes. Only I get to look at her. I turned and saw Ethan making his way toward me, parting the crowd like the tide. He looked breathtaking in his tailored tuxedo. Hiding from the guests? He asked aloud, coming to stand beside me, his shoulder brushing mine. Just enjoying the breeze, I said, smiling up at him. I want to kiss her, his thoughts whispered suddenly, deep and mature in a way that made my breath catch. I've waited 2 years. I'm 18 now. I could legally marry her. I want to tell her, but what if she still sees me as just some patient she had to look after? What if she doesn't love me the way I love her? My heart swelled with a love so deep it brought tears to my eyes. I reached over, slipping my fingers through his, our hands locking together. His hand was warm, steady, strong. Ethan, I said softly. Yes, he said, looking down at me, his vertical pupils softening into warm, dark pools. I can hear you, I whispered. Ethan blinked. What? I've always been able to hear you, I said, a tear of joy sliding down my cheek. From the very first day we met, I heard how much you loved my birthmark. I heard how you wanted to turn my village into a garbage dump. I heard every bit of pain you carried and how badly you wanted to protect me. Ethan froze. For the first time in his life, his mind went utterly, completely silent. His face turned a shade of red that put the finest wine on the banquet table to shame. She heard everything. His mind finally squeaked, sounding like a terrified kitten. Every single embarrassing, childish, possessive thought. Oh my God, I want to dig a hole and crawl into it. I want to hibernate for 3,000 years. I laughed, resting my head against his shoulder. Don't hibernate, I murmured, voice full of tenderness, because I love you too. Every single thought of you. Ethan's silence shattered. A wave of pure, unfiltered joy surged through our bond, bright as a sunrise breaking across my mind. He wrapped his arms around my waist, pulling me close against his chest. You really are a telepathic little butterfly, he whispered aloud, lips brushing my forehead, right where my hair parted. And you, I whispered back, are my handsome prince. Actually, I'm a dragon, his mind corrected proudly. A playful, happy hum echoing through my head. A big, cool dragon. And you're my treasure. I'm never letting you go. Under the silver moonlight, wrapped in the music of the ballroom and the warmth of his arms, I understood that our destiny was no longer a curse. It was the promise of a beautiful, endless lifetime together.